O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Where we are looking at something completely wild today. Imagine cutting your own arm with a razor. Every single time you accidentally said the word I.
Yeah, it sounds like absolute torture. But for over a century, a specific group of occultists actually considered this the ultimate shortcut to complete self-mastery.
Exactly. So today we are jumping straight into a notorious esoteric text by Aleister Crowley called Liber 3 Velgigorum, and we're pairing that with its modern evolution on a site called chaos.org, specifically the Neithersphere community.
Right. The mission here is to understand how these extreme occult disciplines basically evolved into a postmodern tool for radical psychological engineering.
Okay, let's unpack this. Think of your mind as running on incredibly buggy biological software. I mean, most of the day, you just operate entirely on autopilot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like saying things, crossing your legs, assuming opinions, all without ever really checking the underlying code. So this deep dive is about a method for ruthlessly and deliberately debugging that software.
Right. And to rewrite that base code, practitioners target three major operating systems of the psyche. The text poetically calls them the three beasts, which are speech, action, and thought.
Which is basically everything we do.
Yeah, exactly. By controlling these, you systematically dismantle the ego. What's fascinating here is how this triple yoke systematically deconstructs that ego. Let's take the first system, speech.
Right, symbolized by the unicorn. Yeah.
Exactly, because speech has a single pointed focus. The exercise actually bans specific words, like first-person pronouns, for a set period.
Wait, so you literally cannot say I or me?
Correct. If you're hungry, you can't say, I am hungry. You have to rephrase it objectively, like, there is a sensation of hunger.
Oh, wow, that is intense. It forces your brain to stop identifying so closely with your temporary feelings.
Yeah, and then you tackle action, symbolized by the horse. This represents physical momentum. You debug this by consciously stripping out automated background habits.
Like what? Like casually crossing your legs or touching your face while reading?
Precisely. You demand complete physical stillness and eliminate those ingrained physical tics.
Okay, so controlling your body and your vocabulary is one thing, but how do you lock down the mind itself? Because that brings us to the third beast, thought, or the ox.
Right, representing the heavy burden of our deeply held beliefs.
Yeah, and the sources outline this incredibly intense exercise where a practitioner creates two completely contradictory identities. Like wearing a ring on your left hand makes you a vegetarian reactionary, but shifting that same ring to your right hand instantly makes you a meat-eating progressive.
Which is a wild mental shift to make on cue.
It really is. And just to be clear to you listening, we are not taking sides on any of these political labels. We are just reporting what is in the source material. But my question is, doesn't intentionally splitting the mind in that risk fracturing your psyche instead of mastering it?
Well, it sounds destabilizing, I know. But within chaos magic, which is essentially a highly pragmatic, results-oriented branch of modern occultism, that malleability is the entire goal.
Okay, so the instability is the point.
Yeah, because the ego isn't a permanent solid object. It's just a series of electrical signals running in patterns. The ring acts as a psychological anchor, like a physical trigger that tells the brain to load a different software profile.
So by proving you can radically shift your entire worldview just by moving a piece of metal, you realize that none of those identities are the absolute, true you.
Exactly. They're just programs you can install or uninstall at will.
But maintaining two entirely different belief systems or, stopping yourself from ever saying I, that requires a massive amount of cognitive oversight.
Oh, a huge amount.
You'd need a way to snap the brain out of its comfortable autopilot and enforce the new code.
And that brings us back to the razor blade. Crowley's original text demanded that violent physical jolt, cutting your arm for every slip.
Which is brutal.
It is, and this raises an important question regarding modern ethics. Obviously, permanently scarring yourself isn't a sustainable long-term strategy for anyone trying to function in normal society.
Right, which is where the Neithersphere comes in, because they updated this grim practice into something highly effective but physically sustainable.
Yeah, snapping a heavy rubber band against your wrist every time you break the rules. It creates a hypervigilant mental sentinel without the physical scarring.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It is essentially violent mindfulness. The physical sting acts like a brutal error message in our mental software.
That direct physical feedback is crucial. It bypasses your higher reasoning and trains the subconscious directly.
Because your brain just hates the sting of the rubber band.
Exactly. So it starts running constant background checks on every single impulse, word, or movement before you even make it.
So what does this all mean? Why does this matter for you, the listener?
Well, the ultimate point of this intense code switching and rubber band snapping is building belief malleability.
Right. By violently silencing your internal chatter, you aren't a slave to automated desires or biological and social conditioning.
Yeah, you finally step out of the program and become the programmer. If we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a brilliant paradox at work here.
Oh, I like a good paradox.
Liber 3 suggests that only by binding yourself absolutely, by heavily restricting every word, action, and thought, can you actually break the chains of your automatic habits and become completely free.
That is incredibly profound, and it leaves us with a pretty unsettling question about our own source code to think about.
Which is?
Well, if every single aspect of your personality, your political beliefs, your speech patterns, your nervous little fidgets, if all of that is just an automated habit that can be snapped away with a rubber band, what exactly is left of you when the autopilot is permanently turned off?